Did you ever sometimes get a little bit overwhelmed when you may be talking to a friend or just even listening to a conversation or a program or a Christian speaker or anyone like that, and they happen to be talking about how they pray or how they meditate or how they worship? I have a mentor who every day he reads a portion of the First Testament and a portion of the Second Testament. He reads the Psalms, he reads the Proverbs, he'll recite the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed, and the Lord's Prayer, and he'll read a number of other texts. And I find that sometimes overwhelming. It's wonderful that he does that, and he's been doing it, he says, for about 40 years. And there was a time I would sort of feel a little bit guilty that what's wrong with me? Maybe I should be doing that as well. I got over that. And we all encounter God in our own spaces, in our own places, in our own ways, and it's important to find those places. Sometimes my prayer is like that of a sister, Kathleen, and her prayer went sort of like this: God, I surrender myself and my family and my friends to you. You take care of everything. Amen. And sometimes, to be honest, that becomes my prayer, because really that's all I got. In the 15th chapter of Matthew, you encounter a woman who has a similar prayer. We're told that she's a Canaanite, that she's a foreigner, that she has a different kind of religion and maybe no religion at all. But one thing is for sure and certain, that she has a need. She has a prayer need. She has a need, and she heard that Jesus is in the area, and that Jesus heals, and that she has this desperate need that her daughter is sick, and she's just got to see Jesus, and she pesters and she cajoles and she does everything until Jesus says, your faith is great, and that he responds to her prayer. Sometimes when I read commentaries on that and people speak and preach about it, they say, well, just look at her persistence and how well she prayed and her determination, and she's kept with it and she stayed to it, and she had chutzpah and all of those things, and that's probably true. But I believe that the source of her prayer was this: her child was sick. Her daughter was sick, and she was desperate, and she needed that prayer answered. Jesus, have mercy on me. Jesus, have mercy on me. Jesus, have mercy on me. My daughter is sick. You would do the same thing as I would. Yeah, she was a Jew. She was a Canaanite, and Jesus was a Jew, but she was willing to take whatever she could get. She would take the crumbs from the table if that meant that her daughter would get well. And when you read that particular Bible passage, you'll discover that she has no format to her prayer. There's no posture. You don't read anything about how she held her hands or how she went into a little room or any of those things. None of that. And she didn't have any biblical or theological language. There was none of that. As a matter of fact, the disciples, they sort of discounted or brushed her off and brushed her off. You may feel like that as well sometimes, that somehow you think you may not have the right words, or you don't do it the right way, or you read the Bible or any of those things, and you don't do that enough. Well, that wasn't the case with this lady. She had that desperate need. She brought it to Jesus, and she, in persistence, it was from her heart. Eugene Peterson said that she came to Jesus and she elbowed her way to the front. And perhaps here's the deal today. Maybe you're in that place where you feel you don't have the words. Maybe today you need to elbow your way all the way to the front table, to the head table, and demand a portion of the meal for yourself. And as Peterson says, the great writer and theologian, he says, you weren't taught that in Sunday school. It wasn't preached to you from the pulpit. But it worked once. Maybe it'll work again. So I have a little prayer concern today. There's a little boy named Amir, and he lives in the United States, and he has friends in Newfoundland, and he needs prayer today. But there's another little girl that I know needs prayer today. And there's other children in different places that need prayer today. And they desperately need prayer, and their families need prayer. So my prayer today is this: God, I surrender. I surrender myself, I surrender my family, and I surrender those little children to you. Jesus, they need help. Please take care of everything. Amen.